secret that I love badass superheroes, and why shouldn't I? With Marvel and DC fighting it out at the box office, there are so many options nowadays that we've been spoiled for choice. So, keeping this in mind, I've decided to switch things up a little bit by presenting my top 25 most badass superhero scenes in the movies. Like, share and subscribe right now because I'm all about that excessive love.
Time to clear the air.
If you're a Gen Z kid, you must be wondering why a man like Nicolas Cage looks so good as Count Dracula in the Renfield trailer. In that case, you should definitely watch him as Ghost Rider. The man is born to play mythical demi-humans. You can't really get more badass than being a burning skeleton, but our man goes all guns blazing in this scene.
You're pissing me off.
So Ghost Rider's primary battle here is with Blackheart's sidekick Abigor, but he really owns the screen with the way he strikes a pose on top of a bridge and then rides up to a building to defeat Abigor with his flaming chains. But wait a second, I'm not done yet. Even after ending his opponent, Johnny Blaze rides down the building and takes an entire barrage of bullets from the cops as if he's soaking in a warm summer breeze. Well, he did have Eva Mendes watching him, so I'm assuming bro wanted to flex a little bit extra, right?
Time to go to work.
Wade Wilson's remembered as two separate characters. On the one hand, there's the iconic foul-mouthed assassin in red latex. We love him. But on the other hand, we've got fake Deadpool from X-Men Origins Wolverine, who we don't love.
Great. Stuck in an elevator with 5 guys on a high-protein diet.
Oh my god, you ever shut up, pal?
No, not when I'm awake.
I've always been a hater when it came to this rendition, but I'll give him credit for his awesome introduction. Bro managed to deflect bullets coming in from all kinds of mathematical angles using nothing more than his swords. Not that Logan would have needed his protection, but I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have opposed the gesture. It's a neatly executed scene which made me appreciate Ryan Reynolds for keeping his mouth shut for once. On a serious note though, we actually got to see how skilled Wade really is as a freelance assassin. I mean, this is better swordsmanship than we saw against Cable in Deadpool 2. That moment, that was just a hilarious mess.
Look, eventually, you're gonna hang up the claws, and it's gonna make a lot of people very sad.
Huh? Oh, right.
Love you. Isn't it awesome when you get a new toy and you want to test it out immediately? I'm pretty sure Tony Stark's looking at us from superhero heaven and thinking, same. You just had to be there in 2008 to witness the most revolutionary 2 hours in superhero history. Iron Man quickly became a pop culture phenomenon, slowly taking over the world with his infectious charm and self-aware arrogance. Of course, we have Robert Downey Jr. to thank for his impeccable portrayal of the character, but the first test run scene still gives me goosebumps. Tony's already pissed at the terrorists for messing with him earlier, so I guess he really wanted to give them a piece of his mind here. Now, if you really love me, you'll know that my favourite moment is when Iron Man walks away from the exploding tank looking as epic as Patrick Bateman after his morning routine.
Hey, amigo, let me see your hands.
If your magic is so weak that The Rock has to call you out on it, then you know you've messed up. Black Adam's like the kid who scores 50% in his exams but could have easily crossed 80 if he just studied that extra hour. That's as accurate as I can be on my feelings regarding this movie, but my standout scene is definitely his ominous appearance in front of those clueless soldiers. It builds great tension and the payoff is huge when Black Adam fries the poor dude who dares to go near him. The thing about a badass character is that he's rarely going to make any grand speeches to flex his powers. He simply executes his actions and moves forward. can't even call this a fight because it's more like a scene where the bully asserts his dominance over the weaklings. You know what would have been perfect? If Black Adam said something like,
Puny God. Want to see my lease?
Window integrity, 1%.
Now!
we're always focusing on the superheroes, right? But you've got to take some time to appreciate the unsung heroes of the MCU. Samuel L. Jackson is a name that needs no introduction, and his role as Nick Fury has been a crucial one for building the Infinity Saga. However, there's only so much a bold agent can do against overpowered aliens and gods, right? That's why I love this scene in The Winter Soldier, where our man has to face off against Hydra agents during an ambush. First of all, I want to know where you can get a car with that kind of security. Who needs a convoy when your SUV can fight off an entire army of spies? What's badass about it is Fury's never say die attitude, which turns out to be the deciding factor between life and death. If he could use that famous potty mouth of his, I'd probably have placed this entry even higher.
Can you blush?
You remember Ron Perlman, right? Our beloved Hellboy had a good thing going for him till they decided to bury that franchise under its grave with David Harbour's version. Well, all I can say is, stranger things have happened. Get it? Because he's Jim Hopper? No, okay, alright, okay, forget that. I might have drifted away a little bit there, but I'm actually covering him getting sliced in half in the Blade sequel. I know people have complained a lot about Wesley Snipes, but you can't deny the fact that he was the OG vampire superhero of the Marvel Universe. The Blade movies never disappoint us with their action scenes, and this one is pretty slick. The funny part is that Blade only fights Reinhardt for a few seconds here because he's busy fighting the other vampire goons. However, that's all it takes to give us a badass memory.
That's all it is, man. A leap of faith.
Disney Pixar almost had a monopoly when it came to animation awards at the Oscars, but then came along Sony with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. The visuals of this film were spectacular to say the least, and I'm super excited to see more of Miles Morales in the upcoming sequels. Now, you wouldn't associate Miles to be a certified boss man, but the leap of faith he took after becoming Spider-Man definitely makes the cut here. Of course, it's nothing dramatic if we're to consider the plot, but sometimes it's all about letting the emotions sink in. Once again, it's the animation that really stands out for me, and the framing of the scene felt so unique and engaging that I could feel goosebumps all over my body.
Mr. Morales, moving in the dark. You're late again.
Einstein said time was relative, right? Maybe I'm not late. Maybe you guys are early.
Sorry.
Whoa! This guy's crazy!
You know who deserves more recognition? Colin Farrell. That's who. He's been on a good run with critically acclaimed films like The Killing of a Sacred Deer and The Banshees of Inisherin, but he's mostly going to be remembered for a role in which he had to wear a fat suit. Funny that Brendan Fraser won an Oscar for doing the exact same thing. Anyway, The Batman was a necessary movie for the DC Universe because they quite frankly didn't know what to do with all the amazing characters in their IP roster. I know I give Robert Pattinson a hard time with those eyeliner jokes, but trust me, I do like his portrayal of the Dark Knight, you know. Of course, Batman's got to look cool in his own movie, and we see it in full effect during the epic chase scene with the Penguin. The lighting was appropriately executed, and Bruce Wayne's sudden emergence out of the flaming explosion totally set my heart racing. Penguin's face really says it all, doesn't it?
They think I'm hiding in the shadows. But I am the shadows.
I think it's safe to say that there's no security in the world that can hold its own against overpowered mutants. However, the moment I want to highlight is Nightcrawler's savage takeover of the White House in the opening sequence of X2. I've been enough of a fanboy regarding this scene, and my fanaticism is totally justified, okay? Just look at him go! Dude went through America's highest paid security team in just a matter of minutes. It's a sublime showcasing of Nightcrawler's powers, and I'm still waiting for Marvel to give us a solo movie on the German teleporter. I mean, I'm sure it can't be as bad as Ant-Man's box office returns, right? Damn, I think that one was way too close to home. Reversing time isn't just a convenient move, it's a pretty dominant display of power, right? No, I'm not talking about The Flash, I'm referring to our very own Kal-El. 1978 Superman was a revolutionary film that set the path for superhero blockbusters way before the MCU. There's a reason it's been preserved in the National Film Registry, you know. Now, there are quite a few scenes that I can choose from here, but as you would have expected, I'm going with the time reversal move Clark uses to bring Lois Lane back to life. Yeah, I know this is a moral debate, but come on, cut him some slack, yeah? Bro finally got a chance to simp, and then his girl got taken away from him. Christopher Reeves blew me away with his brilliant performance, and I hope people start mentioning him more often in pop culture discussions. Man, if only I could turn back time to unsend all those risky texts when I was a teenager.
I'll see you later.
I think he really cares about you.
Clark, of course he does.
No, not Clark.
Superman cares about everybody, Jimmy. But, who knows, someday maybe if he's lucky.
I also want to shout out the musical score here as well because it adds a lot of intensity to the overall vibe of the scene. I don't even know why those enemy soldiers were firing at Wonder Woman. It should be a cardinal sin to shoot at someone so gorgeous.
Goodbye, brother.
Being a god can be really hectic at times. You tend to forget your own powers every now and then. Thor fell victim to this trope as he couldn't see himself as a true superhero without his trusted hammer. Now, I get that a trademark weapon helps build your brand and all of that sort of stuff, but come on bro, you're the god of thunder. Even your dad was pissed over you becoming such a wuss.
Are you Thor, the god of hammers?
However, when Thor finally realised his on-screen abilities, it was nothing short of spectacular. The lightning blast on Hela was epic enough, but then he decided to do us one better and beat the daylights out of her army as well. The only thing that's left now is for Chris Hemsworth to appear as a surprise guest at a Led Zeppelin concert.
Your hammer got bigger? How did your hammer grow, Chris?
I used my friend's arm for it.
Ew.
For the handle.
What?
I wonder how, I wonder why.
Well, how about that? It's a hat-trick of scenes from 2017 movies. This was totally unintentional, but I'm sure it's all part of some grand plan. I've already narrated essays on how Wolverine is the greatest X-Men mutant to have ever graced the big screen, and I stand by every single thing I have ever said about it. I'm obviously excited for Hugh Jackman to show up in Deadpool 3, but Logan will always have a special place in my heart. The movie had intense depth, strong themes, great acting, and an epic fight scene where Logan goes absolutely bonkers. Seeing Wolverine slash his enemies to pieces while roaring with rage made me overjoyed because of the nostalgia. It's a short scene, but it gave us maximum impact.
What is that? Iron Man might have his house party protocol and his Iron Legion, but you know what Batman has? Bats.
Alright, that wasn't as dramatic as I thought it was going to be actually. Anyway, the Dark Knight needs to make a quick escape with his beloved Rachel, but he's got a bunch of cops to deal with. Normally, I would just say fight it out, but I'm not Bruce Wayne, so I don't have an entire army of bats to come to my aid. This scene kind of took me by surprise because having a bat cyclone at your disposal is as badass as things can get. I also want to shout out that hilarious moment when Batman casually makes his way through the Arkham Asylum and pardons himself for walking past a couple of inmates. I guess even the Dark Knight knows humor is important to maintain a balance between fighting crime and being a boss man.
I'll get my car. I brought mine. Yours. I gotta get me one of those.
Fine! I only have 12 bullets, so you're gonna have to share.
Let's count them down.
If you saw the 2009 Deadpool in this video, did you really think I was going to skip the real deal? Wade Wilson got a major upgrade in 2016, and it was probably the smartest decision 21st Century Fox ever made for the X-Men franchise. Seeing the red latex assassin pulling off his exceptional stunts while also giving us some nasty words of wisdom was a total treat to watch, and it completely redeemed all of the mistakes Ryan Reynolds has made throughout his career.
Oh, I'm touching myself tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Green Lantern. Deadpool kept us engaged all the way through this lengthy sequence, and that kind of skill is pretty rare nowadays when everyone's busy doing silly dances on TikTok.
You're about to be killed by a Zamboni! Tell me where your fucking boss is, or you're gonna die! In 5 minutes!
For Darkseid.
Now that we're in the top 10, I think it's safe to say that you're going to recognise a lot of these entries. On that note, who can forget Superman's iconic entrance in Zack Snyder's Justice League? It wasn't just a mark of dominance, the scene also highlighted the Man of Steel's sass factor, and it showed in the nonchalance he exhibited during the entire battle. Steppenwolf is no small fry, right? But I was left wondering what the others were doing if it was so easy to defeat him. I mean, there's Batman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Flash, and Cyborg to take on just one guy. They all still failed. Maybe that's why this scene leaves such a long-lasting impact. There can only be one Superman after all.
It's time.
I'm always angry.
It's important to express your feelings, no matter how difficult the situation might get. Bruce Banner sure knows it, considering he's housing an overpowered giant with extreme anger issues. The first Avengers movie was a great risk in terms of cinematic execution, and the result proved to everyone that superhero movies were here to stay.
And Hulk. Smash.
It only makes sense for me to include one of the more memorable scenes from the movie, because who doesn't want to see an epic transformation unfold in a single second? When you have badass moments like the Hulk smashing a freaking Leviathan in the face, you can't help but marvel at the sheer brilliance of such scenes. I'm just thinking actually, if being angry truly is the key to unlocking such power, then shouldn't Nicolas Cage be the strongest man on Earth?
I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that.
Puny god.
Now, when we were in school, I'm sure we had motivational sessions where the teacher would tell us stuff like, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. Those were the good old days, weren't they? Well, one person who acted on that advice was our very own Steve Rogers. Thanos was overpowered to an unfair level in Avengers Endgame, and it showed in how he totally dominated Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man. I mean, two of these guys got you to bleed in one-on-one battles in the previous film. How are you able to beat them so easily now? Plot armor, I guess.
I knew it.
But not that I'm complaining. We all got to see Steve Rogers lift the mighty Mjolnir and give the Mad Titan a beating of a lifetime. Also, I know he gets defeated even after this power-up, but to see Captain America strap his broken shield despite the odds being against him was a truly inspirational moment. It really does hammer home the point that it ain't over till the fat lady sings.
Thank you. I'll do my best.
That's why it's yours.
You want to tell me about her?
No. No, I don't think I will.
Okay, we're gonna lighten the mood a little bit now, shall we? Quicksilver's a fascinating character. We got to see various versions of him split between two actors, but I think it's safe to say that the Evan Peters version is the clear winner. That's no shade to Pietro though, he could only do so much with limited screen time. Coming back to Peter Maximoff now, the kitchen scene from Days of Future Past totally made him the fan favourite he is today. It's funny, unique, and nicely shot to give us a quick glimpse of Quicksilver's super speed. It takes a special kind of talent to bamboozle the likes of Professor X, Magneto, and even the freaking Wolverine. See, that's why I always support quickies.
Thanks, kid.
The power of a mother's love is so grand that even the mere mention of her name can stop you from assassinating DC's most powerful superhero.
Save Martha!
Batman vs Superman didn't disrupt the box office the way Warner Brothers would have liked, but it's still worthy of some admiration. Of course, the Martha scene was one that owned all of Instagram with the hilarious memes it gave birth to. Bruce Wayne clearly is a mama's boy and it shows. Bro risked his life to save another guy's mother just because she shares the same name with his own mom. Of course, Martha's rescue scene in itself was totally badass. The way Batman goes through all of Lex Luthor's goons is commendable, and the action choreography was pretty impressive. See, Bruce isn't always about the darkness or the shadows. At the end of the day, he is just a big softie.
Breathe it in. That's fear. You're not brave. Men are brave.
I told you, you'd die for that.
Ah, here it is once again. The legendary entrance of Infinity War that spurred so many viral videos, it's hard to keep track of them all. Thor has always been respected as an overpowered god with immaculate strength, but we all knew he had a truly epic moment just waiting somewhere around the corner. Then came along the Battle of Wakanda, where the God of Thunder had to step in to save his fellow Avengers from the Chitauri army. We all know what happens next.
Bring me Thanos!
And oh boy, we're sure thankful that Chris Hemsworth claimed his flowers after years of hard work and dedication. The man might be naturally gifted and shredded beyond imagination, but training for a Marvel movie's no easy feat. I was really looking forward to a few more moments from him in Endgame, but the writers decided to turn Thor from a badass into a fat ass.
Is he asleep?
No. I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Awesome. Eggs? Breakfast? No. I'd like a Bloody Mary.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Memes are an important part of our lives, aren't they? Whether you're at work or pooping on the toilet, you need that one image, video or GIF to make your day. The MCU has blessed us with a treasure load of memes right from the first Iron Man movie, but there's one such moment that wasn't intended to be funny. That's right, I'm talking about the elevator scene from Captain America: The Winter Soldier. We all might be laughing at the dad jokes we see on Instagram using this template, but I'll choose the actual fight scene any day over a few giggles. The warning at the beginning sets the tone for what we're about to witness, and Steve Rogers doesn't disappoint as he tears all those Hydra agents a new one. I mentioned Rorschach in the V for Vendetta entry, so you could say that I was doing a bit of foreshadowing back then. It's important to appreciate the hidden gems of superhero cinema, and Zack Snyder's Watchmen definitely leads that list.
You know, maybe I can give you an autograph, huh?
What you say, big boy?
Rorschach is an immensely fascinating character with great depth and valid conflicts, so I'm a bit surprised that he hasn't really been explored as an option for spin-offs, even if it's a limited special on HBO Max. I mean, just look at the prison scene if you want to understand how badass he is. Not only does he bring a world of pain to his opponents, Rorschach can also deliver his lines with malicious intent. With the success of movies like Joker, I'm really baffled as to why studio execs are choosing to make Shazam sequels rather than focusing on cult favorites.
Never disposed of sewage with a toilet before. Obvious, really.
If you thought, even for a split second, that I wasn't going to include Tobey Maguire on this list, then you clearly don't know me. Spider-Man 2 is widely considered to be the best superhero movie sequel, and it shows too. Peter Parker's presented in a whole new light, and I might sound weird for saying this, yeah, but it was important to show his struggles against the deadly Doc Ock.
Any more bright ideas? I got a few. Yeah.
Of course, this video is all about being badass, so I've got to choose the legendary train scene as my top entry. The stakes are high, the tension is thick, and the payoff is massive. This moment didn't just give us an adrenaline rush or heart palpitations, it also embodied Spider-Man's true purpose, saving lives regardless of the cost. Great power really does come with great responsibility, doesn't it?
We won't tell nobody. It's good to have you back, Spider-Man.
If you enjoyed this video, in the meantime, here's another video that you're going to enjoy.